Hey guys, it's Derek with The Spladle Car Sessions, episode 2. So in the last video, I just wanted to tell you guys, sorry about the squeaky car, sorry. I just want to tell you guys about me, who I am, why I made this channel, what I wanted this channel to be about. Now let's get into the good stuff. The reason why I'm in the middle of Death Valley is because I'm heading home from Las Vegas. I had planned this trip with my mom like a month and a half ago. We haven't seen each other since the pandemic. She lives up north. I just got this job here, and making time and having the money to do any kind of traveling wasn't easy. But now that we had the opportunity, she decided, let's meet up in Vegas, because she'd never been to Vegas before, and it was better than meeting up in Los Angeles or in my little, desert town. So that's what we did. And I remember a week, not even a week, like 4 days before the weekend came, I realized Double or Nothing was happening Sunday night of that weekend. My mom was leaving Los Angeles Sunday afternoon, and Alex was going to be meeting us Saturday and staying with me through Monday. So I says, okay, my visit with my mom ends before the pay-per-view, and even though we're not home, it's Vegas. They love sports and sports entertainment. There's got to be a venue showing the pay-per-view. So I'm like, Alex, would you mind if, because he doesn't watch wrestling like I do. I said, would you mind if I found somewhere for us to watch the pay-per-view? And he said, no, he doesn't mind. So then I went on Google, and like a dumbass, I learned that it's happening in Vegas. Why would I look for a venue to watch the pay-per-view when I could watch it live? So instead of taking me to an expensive fancy dinner for my birthday, which was earlier this week, Alex bought us tickets last minute. I mean, like 3 days before the show, bought us tickets. We was up in the nosebleeds, but I don't care. It was my first time attending a AEW pay-per-view. I've been to Rampage, I've been to Dynamite a number of times. This was my first pay-per-view. And this was his first live AEW show at all. You might have saw in my Cinco de Mayo video that was his first wrestling show with me, but this was the first AEW show. So we made it happen in grand fashion. When my mom found out we were going to this wrestling show, she was excited about it. And when I was looking up all the information to tell her about it, that's when we found out they were doing a fan fest at the MGM Grand on the Saturday before. So my mom said, let's go. I'm like, bet, let's go. So we went. And you'll see in this little soft intro I had planned on putting up first that I was excited because there was wrestlers everywhere. Check it out. What's up, everybody? It's me, Derek. I'm here in Vegas at the MGM Grand for AEW Fan Fest. It's a little loud in here. Sorry, I'll put some closed captions if I need to, but I haven't even walked into the convention floor yet, and I decided to do my cold open out here because everybody's here. Obviously, tomorrow is Double or Nothing, AEW pay-per-view, and I'm walking, and I've seen Taya Valkyrie, I've seen Julia Hart, I've seen Daniel Garcia, Luchasaurus, Jeff Jarrett. I've got a few getting ready to walk past me right now, and I haven't even gone in yet. I'm just hanging out outside. Like, I just had 2 legendary wrestlers just walk past me right now. That would be the legendary Dustin Rhodes and Jade Cargill and Tony Nese. Oh my goodness, I haven't even gone in yet. I'm gonna get in here. We're gonna take some videos and come back later. Yeah, so as you can see, I was like a kid in a candy store, and it was It was wild. My mom was laughing the whole time because I was giddy. We walked through the casino, through the like mall, through the food court, before we even got to like the convention center where the Fan Fest was being held. And despite the fact that it was an AEW Fan Fest, most of the people at the resort were not there for it. There were not a whole lot of AEW fans around us, and I think that empowered the wrestlers to just walk through the casinos, because I passed by Taya Valkyrie in the food court and said, "Hey Taya," and she just gave me a little smile. Shortly after walking past her, Julia Hart was trying to like just slum around in a hoodie thinking nobody was gonna recognize her, and I was like, "Oh my god, Julia Hart, I love you," and she gave me a little wave. Then I almost bumped into Keith Lee, who was on his phone. Justin Roberts was walking around in a tank top showing off his big old muscles. Did y'all know Justin Roberts had muscles? The dapper, what do they call him? The dapper yapper who's always in them clean suits actually got some big ass arms? I was surprised. Who else walked past me? Luchasaurus walked past me without his mask on. That's a good looking man too. He's so tall. He's tall. Jeff Jarrett walked past me looking like somebody's fit dad. Then in the clip you saw, I had Dustin Rhodes, I had Jade and Tony Nese walk past me in a group. I could have bumped into Daniel Garcia. Him and a group of his boys were walking past 3 abreast, and I'm like, I could have been like, "Oops, sorry." He's so cute. Oh, he's so cute. They were everywhere. As we were going into the Fan Fest, they were scanning our tickets, and Preston Vance walked behind us to get in, and security tried to stop him, like, "Oh, you gotta scan your ticket." And I was like, "No, he's one of the wrestlers." Y'all, his arms, oh my god, his arms were like as big as my torso. I know he's low down dirty dog now, but I've always loved me some Preston Vance. So we get into the Fan Fest, and it's primarily meet and greets. So they had booths that were roped off so you could stand in line to get to your meet and greets. They had some cool signs. They had a merchant booth on one side, and then they had Upper Deck had a booth on the other side where you could take your own pictures, and they'd make an Upper Deck card of you, which I thought was kind of cool, but I wasn't dressed for it, so I didn't do it. And then they had a few like selfie stations on the other side where like you could put one of the belts over your shoulder and look like you're standing in the ring, or you can get inside of a giant blown up version of Jade Cargill's action figure box and stuff like that. Here's the pan around view of it. Check it out. So they also had a stage set up behind the main sign, and they had a schedule. There were different things they were going to be doing throughout the day, and I guess when I had got there, we had just missed a panel. I don't remember what the panel was for, but there was a panel that Ethan Page was a part of, and he was up there building heat like he does, because he's a villain, he's a heel. But I love Ethan Page. I've loved Ethan Page since he debuted in AEW. I did not know him before then. I think he is absolutely gorgeous. I think he's so funny and he's so sweet outside of the ring. Obviously in the ring he's a heel, and he's great at being a heel. But if you remember, he used to have a backstage vlog, and he has his toy hunt vlogs. He doesn't do the backstage vlog anymore, unfortunately. I loved it. I loved seeing him and all the other wrestlers like outside of character, just because it makes you appreciate them more. He still does his toy hunt vlogs, which are great, but I miss his backstage vlogs. Well, apparently during his panel, he said, I'm going to hang out right over here off the stage for photos if anybody wants to take a free picture with me. And I'll stay until there's nobody left to take a free picture with me. So while the best friends were charging $100 for a meet and greet, Darby Allin was charging $150 for a meet and greet. You know, Roderick Strong, the BCC, they were all charging tons of money for a meet and greet. Ethan Page was like, come get one for free. And I know some of you are going to say, oh, well, who cares? He's mid-card, he's mid-tier. I don't give a crap. I don't give a crap. That's good shit right there. You know, he didn't have to monetize his fans. He can if he wants to, but this time he didn't. So when I saw the line, and I saw that it wasn't in one of those roped off booths, I approached the girl at the end of the line and I said, what's going on here? And she's like, he's taking free photos. And I said, excuse me? And she was like, what? Right? So we decided we'd take each other's pictures when we meet him. And here's my picture with him. Such a sweet guy. I told him when I approached him, I said, I'm going to tell you something cringy. And he said, what is it? And I said, I'm part of an LGBT pro wrestling fan group. And in said fan group, I refer to you as my Canadian husband. And this is his face the moment I told him. I called him my Canadian husband. Anyway, he laughed and he was like, well, you couldn't have chosen a better one. And then after we had our pictures, he said, I'd really take that as a compliment. And I was like, right on, as long as I didn't creep you out, you know. And he gave me a little tap on my back. Oh my God. Anyway, my mom then left me. She went to go use the restroom. And I'm like just standing there kind of like keeping an eye on things, but also like kind of trying to keep my eye on the entrance so I can see when she comes back. And in walks Jon Moxley. He's wearing a tank top and jeans with a beanie, and he had this ginormous sucker in his mouth. And I guess because he had the beanie on and because he had like a guide with him, people didn't really recognize him because he just strolled on in. And I'm watching him like, oh my God, that's Jon Moxley. And then he's like walking my way. And I know he wasn't coming toward me. He was going toward like the booths and stuff in the back. But he kept coming, and he was putting on that character. He was embodying that physicality he does. And I'm like, he's still walking. He's still walking toward me. What do I do? Which way do I go? How do I get out of his way? Oh my God, he's gonna smash me. And then at the last minute they turned and went a different way. And I'm like, what the fuck was that? Why did I just freak out? What the hell? Like, it was a very new fangirly experience for me. I'm glad nobody saw it. Then they did Evil Uno and Smart Mark. Sterling teamed up against the Guns to play, I forget the game, where you ask one person what they think the other person will say. I forget the name of the game. But they did that. That was kind of fun. Then a little while after that, they did a live taping of the AEW Unrestricted podcast with host Aubrey, our referee, Aubrey Edwards, and Alex Abrahantes. And they had a few guests. So they had, the first guest was Anna JAS.
Is that I know not a lot of people saw it, but those that did really loved it. Very first House Rules show.
Oh gosh.
It was you and Britt in Ohio going like 10 minutes and just killing it.
That was a fun match, but people ripped that apart when they saw it, so, you know, it is what it is.
I'm sorry, you're a woman in wrestling, everyone's going to rip everything apart.
Ooh,
Yeah,
not wrong.
yeah, but that was fun, and the house...
Who looked fabulous. And they just kind of, you know, asked her about her transition from the Dark Order into the JAS. And she said, you know, she'll always be a member, she'll always have love for the Dark Order, but working with Jericho was too good an opportunity to pass up. And, you know, her and Ty Mello had been a tag team together at the time, and it only made sense that they would both just stay in the same stable. They asked her some fun questions. Then they brought out Anthony Bowens. Love our boo Anthony Bowens, out there killing it. You know, they asked him about his quick rise to fame, and, you know, kind of how he's an ambassador for the LGBTQ community, and he, you know, stated that he takes that very seriously. He wants to be a positive role model. They talked about his what is it? Savage Fenty photo shoot he did recently. I don't know if y'all saw that. Ooh, it's spicy. He was showing off some swimwear and some underwears. You know what? I'm gonna go look up the pictures and post it for you here. Oh my goodness. So yeah, they didn't show the pictures during the broadcast, but they brought it up and they were like, hello, look at you. And he was like, yeah, that was a cool thing to do. I'm like, he's so modest. Shut up, you sexy bitch. Then they got into a very lengthy discussion about scissoring, and it was so hilarious because you would have thought that they were actually talking about, like, I don't know, something serious and important. But he was talking about, like, he's talking about how you have to, because he scissors so much, proper stretching and exercising beforehand is a must. And, you know, he scissors responsibly, and consensual scissoring is a must.
What's the first thing someone needs to know when they are trying to scissor for the first time?
Hygiene, maybe. Hygiene. Sometimes, and make sure you trim your nails. That's very important. Sometimes in the meet and greets, I come home and I just have scars and cuts all in between my fingers.
Oh no.
And I think he even told us a story about he dirty scissored a guy one time. I think it was the same weekend. He said he had a few drinks. He needed to use the restroom. He went to use the urinal, and in between the urinal and the sink to wash his hands, a fan wanted to scissor him in the restroom. So they got the old stinky finger. Anyway, go check it out. I love how brash. I haven't watched or listened to any of the other podcasts just because I have so much I'm trying to follow. But I did not realize Audrey is so brash in that podcast. She is potty mouthed, and it's funny. It's kind of like a different version of her from what we see as the referee.
Yes, you were flirting with the idea of joining the BCC, and now you're full on asshole. So, yeah, you are a piece of shit. But you're really good at it.
But they were going to have a few more panels after that, but we didn't really want to stay there all day if we weren't going to be doing meet and greets and stuff like that. So we stood in line for merch. I got me an AEW zip-up, and I got me a box of Upper Deck AEW trading cards. I had gone back and forth between wanting to get involved in that. I don't collect a lot of things, but I do collect, like, I have my Transformer figures I collect, and I'm like, I don't know, is that another hobby I want to take on? But the opportunity was there, and it was actually, I will say, all their merch was kind of pricey, except the Upper Decks. The Upper Decks were actually a bargain. It's last year's edition, 2022 box set, but you get 8 packs of cards in that box set. So the price was right. We grabbed it. Why not? And I'm going to do an unboxing video of it later on. I'm hoping for some Ethan Page card, maybe MJF card. We'll see. Yeah, so overall it was a cute experience. This is my advice to any fans who have an opportunity to meet a wrestler that they like, whether it's through a paid meet and greet or if it's just a random occasion or an indie show, my advice to you, take the opportunity if you can to do the meet and greet, to do the picture taking, but also try to find a way to make it personal. You know, tell them a story like I told Ethan about how I refer to him as my Canadian husband, or ask them a fun question. You know, not something trivial, but, you know, ask them like, hey, oh my God, how did you like that one place I saw you visited on your social media last week? You know, and they'll be like, oh, have you been? It was great. I loved it. This, that, and the other. Sometimes you won't need to do that. Sometimes at these meet and greets, the talent themselves are really quick to engage you. But if they agree to a picture and they don't immediately strike up a conversation, do something like that. You know, make it a little less of a transaction. Make it a little bit more of a social thing. But be careful. Don't annoy them. Don't take up all their time. I just feel like it makes the experience more special. Yeah, and that was it. That was the Double or Nothing meet and greet. I've mentioned it numerous times. They're not paying me to. I'm not promoting them, but I am a part of an LGBTQIA plus fan group, pro wrestling fan group called, what is it? Oh my goodness, I always get the acronym wrong. It's LWCP or LCWP. It's one of those two. We're on. I'll put the correct spelling here. But we're on Facebook, and there was a group of them that had arranged a trip together. Sometimes they get they split the cost of a box. They have social meet and greet. I missed all that because we bought our tickets last minute and I was visiting family. But for some of you out there who maybe you're on the queer spectrum, you like the pro wrestling, but you don't want to do it by yourself, that can be kind of intimidating. Check us out. Come join the group, answer the questions so they know you're not a robot and you're not a creeper. And yeah, you might have opportunities to visit some of these shows with like-minded fans so that you're not, you know, out of your element on your own. Check it out. Anyway, if you guys would like to, obviously, like, comment, subscribe. Deuces.